eyes up here. So, writers, we have spent the whole first half of first grade writing small moment stories. But in this new unit, we're not going to be writing small moment stories. We're going to be taking a look at a totally new type of writing called pattern books. Now, Ryan kind of already noticed what we were doing, and he might have snuck a peek at our chart up here. Let's take a look. Patterns are something we know from math, and they're something that we see in the world all around us. Take a look at the patterns that I put up on our chart. What patterns do you notice? Turn and talk. Let's see, Angelina.
You can't turn the head. You turn the head and I say it. You turn the head.
It's not Nicholas. It's Mrs. Monaco's. It's Mrs. Monaco's. I'm videotaping for her. It does look like Nicholas's, doesn't it? I'm just videotaping for Mrs. Monaco.
Writers, stop what you're doing. Look back up here. I'd like to share one of the patterns they noticed. Rose, what do you think? Aha, so we can have patterns with colors. Sometimes colors make patterns, and my shirt is a good example. Blue, white, blue, white, blue, white. What other patterns do you notice up here? Give me another one, Mia.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Aha, so sometimes numbers can make patterns, and we see that a lot in math. What's the last one, Dylan? And what shape do you see there? So sometimes shapes can make patterns. But you know what, writers? Books can also have patterns. And in this unit, we're going to be thinking about and writing books that have patterns. So everyone, put your eyes right up here because I have a pattern book I would like to share with you today. And I need everybody crisscross applesauce. Hands on that. Eyes up here because this book is called Our Granny. The story is by Margaret Wild and the pictures are by Julie Vivas. Hands are down. While I am reading this book, I want you guys to listen as writers. I want you to think, what did this author do? What pattern is in this book? I'm going to be asking you that question after I finish, and we're actually going to be sharing our patterns up on this chart. Our granny. Some grannies live in apartments, big old houses, old people's homes, little rooms in the city, trailers, farmhouses, cottages by the ocean, nursing homes, or nowhere at all. Our granny lives with us in our house. Some grannies have thin legs, fat knees, bristly chins, interesting hair, crinkly eyes, friendly smiles, or big soft laps. Our granny has a wobbly bottom. Some grannies wear jeans and sneakers, pantsuits, silky dresses, baggy underwear, lots of jewelry, high heels, sensible shoes, or comfy slippers. Our granny wears a funny bathing suit. Some grannies babysit, drive trucks, fix the plumbing, go to college, travel, write books, work in an office, play in a band, or make sick people feel better. Our granny marches in demonstrations. Some grannies play cards, tennis, golf, or badminton. Some grannies hike, jog, dance, learn Tai Chi, or ride bikes. Our Granny does special exercises to make her bottom smaller. Some grannies have husbands, best friends, cats, dogs, or parakeets. Some grannies have had 3 husbands. Some grannies have had 6 husbands. Goodness. Our grandpa passed away, but our granny often thinks about him. Sometimes she wears his old red sweater with the holes in the sleeves. Some grannies blow kisses, put kisses at the bottom of their letters, leave lipstick on your cheek, give big sloppy kisses that make your ear wet, or don't kiss very much at all. Our Granny always kisses us goodnight in bed. Some grannies have many grandchildren, or even great-grandchildren. Our Granny has us, and we have her. We love our Granny. So, writers, when I started this book, I asked you to think about the pattern that you were noticing. I asked you to listen as writers. What did this writer do? And we're going to take a look at this chart up here, and I'm going to add a picture of the book cover. I wrote title, and that's going to be Our Granny, and I need to get a glue stick to add that up. Pattern in the book. What pattern did you notice? Thanks, Rose. What pattern did you notice in this book? What did the author keep repeating? What parts were the pattern? As I glue up our title here. Right, what were you noticing?
Granny.
Ah, okay. So on each part in the book, we started with what? We started with some grannies do this or that or this or that, but our Granny does this. So first they talked about some grannies. Then they talked about our Granny. So I'm going to write the pattern in the book was some grannies. But our Granny. And I put a ... because the information changed each time. So what do we call this pattern? We're going to call this pattern comparing. Because some grannies do one thing, but our Granny does this. Some grannies wear this, but our Granny wears that. This is a comparing pattern. Now, writers, think like writers for me. Do you think you could use this comparing pattern about something other than grannies? What do you think you could use this for? Let me show you a quick example, and I'm going to ask for your ideas. Here is a pattern that one of my first graders wrote last year. Some teachers yell. My teacher doesn't yell. Some teachers wear fancy clothes. My teacher, Miss Anderson, she wears fancy clothes. So they did some teachers, my teacher. Some teachers, my teacher. Can you think of another thing or person you could use for comparing? Try to talk.
My mom. I go first.
Writers, stop what you're doing. Look back up here, because you know what? You seem ready to get started. I heard some great ideas. I heard some moms do this. My mom does that. I heard some dads do this, but my dad does that. I even heard some dogs do this, but my dog does that. So writers, today, you're going to be doing just what the author did in Our Granny, and you're going to actually try out a comparing pattern book. This is the paper you will need, and I will come around and put it in each of your bins. Your folders are empty because when we finished up our last Writer's Workshop unit, You took home all of your stories. So writers, give me a thumbs up if you're ready to try a comparing book today. Excellent job. All right, I need my friend at the green table, Alexis, to get the bid.